Hey, what's going on, guys? Today I'm testing a new additional format of interaction with you guys, and in this video I'm gonna make a code review regarding the code that was sent to me by Dmitry, who's one of my Russian subscribers, or maybe Ukrainian, I don't know, but doesn't matter. Well, I guess probably Russian, because when he scrapes the price, there was the Russian national currency, not the Ukrainian one. So, well, nevertheless, it doesn't matter really that much. So, like it's cool when somebody is watching like my or whoever's YouTube tutorials regarding web scraping and trying to get something useful out of that. But it's all about, it's, in my own opinion, YouTube is all about the feedbacks. So I think it's really important to have that kind of interaction with the subscribers, and I'm really I want to thank all of you guys who sending me those help web scraping requests on my email, and I'm really happy to create content using that particular tasks, real world tasks you're sending me, and this is really nice. And in this case, like what we're supposed to be doing today is actually even more interacting, if you can say this. It's even more close. It's an opportunity to get even closer to the subscribers, because like when you're sending me your code and asking me to like, I don't know, review. I don't like this review word, so it's not about like saying what's good there or what's bad, but just trying to give some sort of a feedback regarding your code. Not saying like this is bad or this is good or this is shit or this is awesome, but just to say like, here you might have changed something, and this stuff is usually done this way, and so on. So trying to do this as polite as possible, basically. So without further ado, I just want to show you the code sent to me by Dmitry. So a couple more notes to consider. I had a very unpleasant situation yesterday with one of my subscribers. I did accidentally expose his name in my video, and he wasn't really happy about that. And I don't want to say his name one more time, but I'm really sorry, man. I'm sorry. You know who am I talking to? I'm really sorry for that happened. And the problem is that he mailed me not to expose his name when it was kind of too late, because the video was already done and even published on YouTube. So if you don't want your name, or I don't know, like, I mean, by saying your name, I mean like this one. So the guy who's mailing me, Dmitry, is okay to show his name. So now I'm asking you guys, so if you allow me to show your name in my videos or not, because it's kind of some sort of a personal data, even though it's really not that easy to kind of it's not that easy to identify the particular person, but still for some reason this might be a problem, I guess. So I don't really want that. So if you don't want me to expose your name into public, please just let me know that in the initial request you're making, because by default I am actually using this, and I consider this to be some sort of a price for the free help I'm providing you with your projects. Okay, so Dmitry had a request not to expose the URL he's making outgoing HTTP requests to in public. That's why I've added this. Oh my god! That's why I've added this part of code. So I've stored the URL that was initially over here. I stored this URL into the url.txt file in order to not to expose this to public, and I've added this couple of lines of code to actually populate the URL variable with the content of the actual URL. So the original code didn't contain this part, so just ignore it. And here was the URL we're making HTTP request to. So starting at this point, we can actually start this review. And I'm sorry for such a long intro, but this stuff is happening all the time, so I really had to say about that at least a couple of words. Okay, so the very first thing, like I'm not saying this video. I'm not gonna be saying like that something is done wrong or bad. I would just say what I would change in this particular code, basically. So the very first thing, even though naming the constant variables with the uppercase letters is considered to be generally a good practice in Python, still in this particular case I would name the URL as the lower cases. So just bearing this in mind, and let me just try to see if I didn't break something. Okay, so Python 3 and price.py. Okay, name URL is not defined, so let's try to find where exactly it's used even more. So okay, okay, over here. So great. Okay. Strange why it's so long. Okay, so this is the data being scraped from the site, and this is the print statement. So this is in Russian. It means literally like price equals. So price equals, and the converted price respectively. So before okay, so I really got lots of things to say regarding this stuff, but let's start basically with the very beginning. So generally a good practice is to provide the commentaries. So generally good practice, and clients really like when the code is commanded, and also commanding the code is good in terms of you're kind of making a message to your own self in future. So if you will be reading your code in a couple of months after actually writing this, you might wonder what the hell is going on there. But if you're reading your own commands that you've message to your old self, to your own self back in those days, it might be really helpful. So the commands generally should describe what in particular the following line of code is doing, or what does it represent. So in this case, we need to say that these are the custom headers, custom request headers. Well, but custom header is just literally fine. And this URL variable is URL to extract data from, and okay, so this is my part. Just ignore it. And okay, so find price is the method that is needed to find the price actually. So this is just fine. And the very first thing we're doing here, so he says page equals request get and so on. So well, actually page in this case is a response object, and it's better to call variables, give the variables names, so the code starts to be like kind of self-documented. So if this is page, it's like it's too lyrical. It's not really clear what kind of page are we talking about. So we're really, if somebody who reads this code doesn't know Python and request library, he has no idea what this page contains basically. But he might have wondered that that it contains the HTML page in return, but it's not really that. It does, but not only that, it also contains the URL information, header, response header information, and all the object and all the elements that request library get method returns within the response object. So it's better to call this actually res or response like this. So to make sure that it's kind of self-explanatory what is this all about basically. So. And this line, what it does, it make outgoing HTTP GET request to the particular URL endpoint. And another line, so here he creates the sub variable. Well, this is what I used actually to call content. And well, but I've seen this name like soup in many tutorials regarding regarding beautiful soup in particular, and Python scraping with requests and beautiful soup. So it's kind of fine to call this variable beautiful soup, but again, if you call this content, it would be kind of more self-explanatory of what is this. But and it's basically the parsed content. So here we say like parsed content, so we understand that this line is actually parsing the content, right? And also it would be more natural to call this variable content, so I would allow myself to do so. And now we need respectively to change all the soups to the contents. Well, probably this one, and that's it. So let me just check if I didn't break anything. Okay, so I'm not sure why he is using this response.content instead of response.text. And to be honest, I don't remember exactly by heart what does that response.content means, but let me just try to print response.content to make sure I exactly know what is there. So okay, so it's the byte object, I guess. So this B stands for bytes, if memory serves me correctly. So like, even though it works for some reason, but like, if you just print like this response.text, you get exactly the same, but in this case you would have a bare string with all the source code is being shown here, and you have the new lines respectively. It's more user friendly, and well, it's easier to parse this kind of stuff. And I don't know, maybe, well, yeah, it's still like HTML parser kind of works here. Well, even though I'm used to make use of LXML parser, HTML parser is literally just fine here. But before we actually move on here, let me just change this content to text, which is more kind of natural way of doing things, and run this one more time. So what I can say from looking at this kind of HTML source code, well, probably Dmitry did create this on his own, because like, it contains some minor I don't know, like, how to call this. It's not really mistakes, but some minor inaccuracies, probably. So you see, like, within the document type, okay, HTML, head, meta, title, head is closed, body, HTML closed, all this fine. But here within the body, he uses literally a table data tag outside of table row or table body or table tag in general, outside of that table context, outside of a table context. So usually people kind of don't do it that way, but well, in this case, if this was a paragraph, it would be literally just fine. But like, from the data extraction logic, it's not a problem still. But I just want to mention that if you're using this TD text, it's really good to enclose them into the TR text that stands for table row, and the table row text should be enclosed into T body text, which stands for table body, and the table body should be enclosed within table tag, and in that case the table would be more or less just kind of like fine. And the data extraction logic would change accordingly, by the way, so just to bear that in mind. So Dmitry, I guess if you enclose this line into what I've just explained, this would be just much better. So even though it's not the HTML code review, but Python scraping code review, still I feel like I need to mention that as well. Okay, so nevertheless, this table data tag contains the class name. It's composed out of two elements in particular, which is fine. It has some styling, which is just okay, and also it has some nested tag, this B tag. Okay, so what I want to see next, so so this line, what it does, it actually extracts price, so extract price. Okay, and here the variable name is just perfect because we're really extracting the price. So content.find TD tag, so we're looking for the TD tags. And one more thing, so if you're using the single quotes, in order to enclose the strings. It's a good idea to use the single quotes all along the way, basically, because like it makes the code style more it gives more readability to the code, and your code style, like it's just better when when it just follows the single pattern all along the way, instead of just make it being like different. So here are double quotes, here are single quotes, no idea for the reader of this code of why exactly this is needed. So just should have take care of one should have take care of the code styling as well in regards to what kind of quotes to use in particular. So class definition is also fine. Well, I've personally used to use a slightly different syntax, but this is also fine, basically. But like again, just it's not from the code perspective, it's more like from the style perspective. So we just make it this, like, so we say class and equals to version 12, like again. So this sort of definition is does more represent the inner structure of Beautiful Soup tag elements, which is in this library in Beautiful Soup. It's kind of a data type. So it's more this kind of dictionary search query more represents how the Beautiful Soup is made itself. So just to bear this in mind as well. So let me just run this one more time. So still the same result. And here, like I just I want to make I want to say one little joke, and if anybody so before I say that, just please, it's not about criticism. It's just for humor. So if anybody but Dmitry, Russian-speaking guys, are here, guys, I'm not about to insult you. We both know that there is a nice saying, Russian, that we, like Russians, Ukrainians, doesn't matter. We inventing the problems for ourselves, and then we're solving them as the heroes. Like this is really fun, because, well, probably like Western people don't understand that, but we know, right? So first try to make a trouble for yourself, and then just try to solve that, and then you're a hero, right? So it's not the way to do things. So some unnecessary complications are starting from this at this point in particular. So let me just show you what I mean by saying this. So we just try to print the price variable here. Okay, so if you just print the price variable, okay. I'm not exactly sure why it's not being why it doesn't show the characters respectively for some reason, but what I want to say, that this next line, he tries to extract the price itself from this. I'm not sure if this is the string. Let me just quickly check that out as well. So okay, sorry, no, not this string. Sorry, what have I done? Type, of course, type. I just want to have a look at the type. Is this a class of string, actually? I'm not sure. Just I hope so, but yeah, it is the string. So great. But what's wrong here? So as far as the get text is used, I'm not sure, but I guess this comes from the B tag, and it's something like. I don't claim this is the new line, but it's some unnecessary character that doesn't belong to price anyway. So also, yeah, also the price is being okay. So let me just show you the source code. So well, I can't show you this in the browser because of the request not to expose to public the URL, but it was actually written like oh yeah, I remember. So it was like yeah, let me show you this. So it was like 20 thousandths, and then the Russian character, it's Russian R. It stands for the Russian currency, national currency, rubles. Not sure how to pronounce that in English, at least. And so some sort of Unicode characters, I guess, are involved here. Even though I'm not sure. Well, but probably this currency is represented by this character, I guess. But the new line, well, I'm not sure why the new line is made that bad. So what I just want to say from here, that the get text is the method that is usually used when you want to get the entire text from, say, from the entire content. You know, like, so if you were to say like dot get text over here, and oh my god, dot get text over here, and then trying to do the same like converted price using this complicated regular expression stuff and so on. Well, in that case, that at least would make some sense. But as far as we are already extracting the particular element containing the text we need, it's better to use simply .text, which stands for the element. So this content.find method would return the beautiful soup element that has a text inner class field containing the textual node information from the particular HTML element. But as far as I mean, like, this TD doesn't have any text in particular, it might not return what we want here. So let me just quickly check that out. I'm not sure. So okay, just don't need this price definition. I just showed you that, guys, just to make it clear where does this weird characters coming from. So just want to have a look. What would be the price variable? Yeah, it's literally the same. So just as I mentioned here. So just text is just fine. So okay. You know, like, what I want to say, you know, like, I don't say that using a regular expression in this case is kind of complete nonsense. Obviously, it's not. But, you know, I don't know how to explain this. Well, okay, so I will probably just leave this line as is, and would probably just provide some sort of an alternative of how I would have done this without using the regular expressions. But because, you know, like, there is a nice, very fun saying that when you're adding regular expressions to your code, then apart from all the issues that are already in there in your code, you start getting even more issues with the regular expressions. So, you know, like, I'm sorry, probably not really authentic definition of that, but I hope you understand what I mean. So, you know, like, using regular expressions is good when, say, for example, you are extracting the phone numbers from different websites when you can't really provide the particular selector, but can just grab the entire text, and or the same for the emails. So that's the case. That's the use case. That's the most common use case for the regular expressions. So okay, here we say extract numeric part of the price. So just looking for the digits. And so I will just comment this out for a while, and so this would be original, and this one would be alternative, just to show you this as an example. So converted price would be equal to, so I would have used the list comprehension technique here, but before that, okay, let me just try to print this, no, not a print, but just let me have a look at the price again. So we don't need the last element, so if we just go from the very first element to and avoiding the very last one, so I guess this, okay, sorry, okay, just, yeah, print price, save. So if we know that the currency is gonna, okay, name converted price is not defined. Okay, so let me just, so if you know that, okay, why didn't really, maybe that's because, oh, that's because the Unicode contains, yeah, so I guess -4. Yeah, so the Unicode characters occupies 4 bytes, and yeah, that's probably, I mean, or 4 bits. Oh my god, I don't remember this low level stuff. So nevertheless, the idea was simply to well, why doesn't it print like in Unicode representation? I have no idea, for some reason. Well, okay, forget that. So here we did extract only those only the numeric part of the price. So starting from, so this is Python specific indexing stuff, so we're starting from the index 0 and taking all the elements until the and we just drop the last 4, we're dropping the last 4 cells in the array, 4 indexes in the array. Yeah, so we're dropping the 4 last indexes. But you know, like if this was, well, okay, so this, I guess this needs some more explanation, so let me just invoke my Python interpreter to show you this. So let's create some string variable that would be equal to hello world, and if you just print the string itself, it would give the entire stuff. So it would print string from 0, so from the very first element, and until, and drop the very last one. It would print hello world without D, well, at least I hope so. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you see, like this D occupies the only, guys, I'm really sorry, I'm not sure if it occupies the only byte or the only bit. Well, I guess it's probably the only byte, because yeah, bit is just 0 or 1, and this is a character, so 256 if it is unsigned. Yeah, there was a time when I remember all this stuff by heart. Yeah, so it occupies 4 bytes if we are talking about the Unicodes. So if we just say again, so -4 here, respectively, the last 4 letters just disappeared. But this regards to the English letters. So if we just try to print some Russian characters, so string equals, and let me try. I never tried that before, believe it or not, but let me just try. So he used the Russian letter R, and well, let's try again, like some sort of similar to what we got there. Okay, and let's print this. Oh my god, let's print this string. Well, here, well, I'm not sure. Well, okay, and we could just try it like from 0 to -1. Well, here it works for some reason. So probably the encoding is a bit different. Well, oh, that's probably because I'm using the UTF-8 encoding, and on that side there might be some different. Well, I have no idea why, but you know, like in this case, in case of this, so okay, hold on a sec. Can I just print the price? Just wanna have a look. Oh, come on. So I did. Oh, yeah. So text. Okay. Let me just try to grab this guy. So copy. Can I paste it just over here? Yes, it's weird. It's weird nonsense. Just wondering if I can. Well, that's the reason why it's always a good idea not to use location-specific letters when you're doing this stuff. Well, okay, so string equals to this, and string from 0 to -1, and from 0 to -4. Yeah, exactly the same. So you see, like there were kind of too many characters. So when I did, and so on. So also, I'm just wondering. Okay, so is this? Hold on a sec. Here it did take too much. So probably I did grab something wrong there. Well, okay, so. Yeah, you know, like the encoding of the source is really weird to my eyes, at least. I'm not sure, so I can't even see the space between this between these guys. So well, anyway, so let me just show you what I wanted to show, because this case is not really common. So in common cases would be slightly bit different. So let's say well, let's say the price would be equal to 20 and like some, so even the Russian character like this. Okay, and again, so let me just print the price. I know this price is taken from the variable, and where the price is not defined. Okay, let me just do something. So even though it's not it's not scraped, it's just a variable, but in this case we can use the index in the following way. So starting from the very first element until the -1, so just get rid of the last element, so this way, and then we can simply say dot replace and replace all the spaces with nothing. Okay, so this is it. So 20 thousandths. And from now on we can actually convert this to the integer, right? So now we have this price, the integer value. Just what I wanted to show you. And finally, converted price. Yeah, so finally this is actually the converted price. So because it is the converted price, right? Save and sorry, did I okay, missed, just deleted a parenthesis accidentally. Must be string, not integer. And hold on a sec. Converted price, well, also we need to stringify this, I guess. Okay, let's. I'm just wondering why. I'm just wondering how on earth did it work. So this converted price. Oh, okay. So yeah. So he uses this integer conversion over here. So I guess this is the way, right? Strange why the request takes so long. Okay, so let me just add a couple commentaries. So here, so if let's say this integer if price, well, you know, like, it's not a converted price, it's actually extracted price to be precise. So let's actually call this respectively. So I call this extracted price and copy. So we're converting the extracted price. Okay. Okay, now something wrong with the okay. Converted price is not defined. Yeah, extracted price. Save. Okay. And so if extracted price converted to integer is less than, well, I'm not sure, probably, yeah, if extracted price less than 5,000, then we're returning the converted price, otherwise the string. So, well, I'm not really sure why this logic, what is this logic needed for. It's a complete mystery to me, to be honest, but you know, like, well, this code is just pretty fine, so no problem with it basically. So probably he just wanted to practice the conversion of the strings to integers. So what I want to say here, guys, that my version contains kind of the string type that you would encounter in most times, and in this case it's really nice to use this indexing limitation techniques along with replacing the spaces with nothing, and then you can simply convert it to integer in a very kind of easy way. But obviously, just in order to work with a particular content presented in the site itself, of course we need to use well, we don't even need this, right? So, well, in this case, using regular expressions might be an option, basically, because, you know, like, oh my god, extracted price is not defined. Why exactly? Where? Converted price. Line 34. Oh, so again, copy, paste. Yeah, so like this. So this is it, right? Okay, so let's summarize this basically. So if we're talking about the particular source here, it's too far away. Let me just try to print this again. So print response.text and save, and okay, so this stuff is really weird, so I have no idea how he managed to do this, basically. No ideas at all. Well, maybe, I don't know, just I have no idea. I didn't really see this like data on the web pages in my career so far until now, basically. So probably this is possible. Well, I'm not sure. But so what I want to say at the very end of this video, that the overall the code is okay, so I like it. And when we just added some commentaries, it became kind of more. It has come to some sort of a more ready-made state, which is, you know, like even if you're writing a small snippet of code, it's nice to make it something look like to be production ready, even if it's not about the production, just to discipline your own self, basically. So that sort of stuff. And regarding the irregular expressions, well, assuming the particular content, yes, it's okay. It's probably really the best way of using this sort of code. And so we changed get text to to just to get in the actual text node of the particular selector. Otherwise, we could have used the get text over here and used literally the same regular expression without the need to actually define the price selector. So just as was already mentioned. And well, I guess this is it. So let me just quickly read what exactly Dmitry was kind of talking about when okay, I've seen your code, it's easier for me to create a video code. Okay, sorry. So okay, this is it. Could I show you my test script? So yeah, he just wanted to show it. Well, it's pretty fine, and I hope that this review won't be considered as like criticism. It's not criticism. I just try to show some key points regarding the particular code set to bear in mind when creating web scrapers and working with beautiful soup library in particular. So well guys, I don't know if this video was actually useful for you, and if you really like this new format of code reviews, please let me know in the commentaries. And also, if you do like this, yeah, you can just feel free to send me your code for the review. But it would be better if you would specify what particular key points you would like me to cover in greater details, maybe. So otherwise it would be just like in this video, kind of probably too general. Well, it's not really that much of code to talk about in this file in particular, but still, just to make it for the purposes of the interactions and giving the feedback and getting the feedback between us, basically. So this would be just better to specify what in particular you would like to know about your code, because it's really hard to judge the code outside of the context of where exactly this code is going to be used. So if you're making something for your own personal use, that's one case. If you're making this for a company working as the regular employed guy, that's different story. So there are different standards for literally everything. If you're freelancing, that's again different story. So if your client does understand the code, it's one thing, and if it doesn't, that's completely different stuff. So there are really lots of cases, so it would be really nice if you will specify what in particular you would like to emphasize my attention at. So I guess this is it. So until next time, and take care.